What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to continue working on this Fireball Stella, but first I came home and saw this box waiting for me outside. I don't remember making any orders, so let's see what we got. Okay, so first off, it is from Dave at Scooter Mercado. So yeah, let's open it up. That is pretty cool, I gotta say. It looks like a really big tool of some sort. Alright, nice little card. Interesting. What is this? Big bottle opener? What is that? Huh. Okay, whatever it is, it's very cool. Is that Italy? Thanks, David, for the wonderful Christmas present. But seriously, though, without your support, this channel would not be possible. So, again, thank you for everything that you've done for me this year. And Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Let's get back to the build. All right, in the last video, you saw I did a whole bunch of little detail work for this thing. Fixing all the little issues with it. So I think it's all pretty much complete. The main thing I did was set the timing for the Penasco 177 kit, which is supposed to be 18 degrees before top dead center. That's good. So next up, I will tighten up these cables a little bit and then cut these cables in length so they actually fit under the cover. And then I'll button all this back up. All right, so you've never tightened cables up before. First off, you need to loosen up the pinch bolt. It's an 8mm on the bottom and the 7mm on the top. So once it's loose, and they can move around on the cable, and we can tighten it. Let me see here. Okay, get that guy out of the way. So to tighten cables, the easiest way to do it is with a fourth hand tool, which is this right here. You can get these on Amazon. They're made for pretty much tightening bicycle cables or whatnot, so a whole bunch of different manufacturers for it. So what it does is it grabs onto the cable, and then this other arm here actually separates the cable and the pinch bolt. So it's actually tightening the cable. So I'm gonna leave it like this. You can actually lock it in place, and then I'll tighten the pinch bolt back up. All right, that should work. I'm gonna mess with the shifter up here, see how that feels. Still a little loose, but we can use the cable adjusters to take up the rest of the slack. There's just a lot of slack on this cable here. So I'll leave it the way it is, and like I said, I will use the cable adjusters here if I gotta tighten it more. But yeah, that should be good. Tighten this up a little bit. All right, so now I'm gonna cut the cables to length so they can actually fit underneath the cover. So, all right, get yourself a pair of good cable cutters like this. When you use cable cutters, they don't actually fray the cable. It keeps it nice and neat when you cut it. All right, so I should be good right around there. Do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna cut this at an angle so it frayed a little bit. There you go. You just wrap it right back up. Still too long, but let's go a little more on this one. Yep, that's good. This one's a little long. All right, before I actually tuck this underneath the cover, you need to solder the ends so they don't come apart, especially when you're shifting this thing. So you just sell a little bit of flux, soldering flux, put some on the end. A nice butane torch. These actually get hot enough to actually melt solder into the cable. So if you've watched my other videos, that's the secret to soldering. You got to get the cable hot enough to where the solder will just, it will just absorb the solder. So it's no different when you're just soldering cables by itself. All right, let me try to get this thing out in the open so I can actually solder it. There you go. A little more flux on this end. Okay, now it shouldn't come apart when I'm shipping. All right, I'm gonna throw a little bit of grease here before I put all the covers back on, because this is constantly moving when you're shifting gears. So you want it to be nice and lubricated. Like that. That should be good right there. All right. All right, now it's all nice and greased up. Put the cover back on. And the fan cover back on. Looks like that. I believe the fan cover goes on first. Yeah. The ground for the starter is up here on this hole. And then just put the screws back in. Easy as that. I'll leave them loose until I get all the screws in. This one down here is right by the kicker. There's a bracket that goes behind this one and that holds the spring for the exhaust. So screw this back in like so. Okay, I'll tighten all the rest of them. Hook the spring back up down here. Like that. That's good. Next up, put the carb cover back on. And then we're gonna do a little wire management here and here to clean that up. And this side should be good. Okay, we got a new carb box gasket. Kind of just work this all the way around the carb box. Then we can put the cover back on. See if this is too long or too short. Hopefully too long is better. A little too long, but not bad. Yeah, that's perfect. Cool. Cut off the access and put the cover back on. All right, now the access. Go. All right, cover back on. Come on. There you go. Okay, 2 screws. One here. All right, this back one's pretty easy, but the front one is going to be a little tricky. Let's see what we can do. Got this little wrench or screwdriver that's shaped like this. It'll help me get in here. Usually I'll use a screwdriver. If you don't know what that is, it's actually a right angle driver that you can attach to a drill gun. That'll get into these little tight spots. But I don't have that with me right now, so I'm gonna use this. It'll take me a little longer, but it'll get the job done. Okay, all back together. Now, the back here, I gotta de-pin these again. I have one good grommet for the back. The other one's a little wonky, but I may just reuse it because these things are hard to get. So I will de-pin this, put all that back together, clean the wiring up a little bit more, and then we should be done here. All right, got most of the wire cleaned up. Back in the junction box. Screw that back into the case. I'm gonna do a little more wire management here. All right, I think I've got the wires where they're supposed to be. Put some zip ties here and there just to keep it all tight, and you should be good to go. All right, I think I've got all the wires where they're supposed to be. Got them all zip tied up nice and neat. Yeah, I think there's a boot here, but I'll see if I can find it. But if not, I think it'll be okay. This is only hot when I actually hit the starter button. So yeah, I can actually go ahead and put the cover back on. We'll check the turn signal on this side. Good to go. All right, turn signal works on that side. On. Just hold on by these 3 M8 bolts. Kind of follow where the old marks from the bolts are and just tighten it down. Otherwise, you're gonna have to kind of snug it a little bit and then make sure it actually closes right and lines up with the check pin. Yeah, like that. Yeah, I know it's not the original seat. Kind of sucks that it's missing, but actually I really don't like this seat, so I might just change it for something sportier. Okay, next up I'm gonna throw a new tire on here because I put a new one on the back. So yeah, here goes nothing. But no, seriously, I'll make another video of just mounting tires, just so I don't bore you to death in this build series. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to do on this build is address the wiring. As you can see, I've already started cutting away some of the vinyl tubing that covered these wires. I want to separate them just so I can move the wires around. Same as the harness in the bike. I started separating these just so I can tape them individually and actually move them around. Just so that every time I screw the headset top down, it doesn't feel like I'm smashing or destroying the wires. I'm not going to show you this process because it's long and boring. But yeah, I'm also waiting for a speedometer cable to come in so I can get the speedometer working again. But that'll be it for this. Next video is probably going to be me riding this thing, and hopefully it doesn't fall apart on me. Well, guys, if you've been thinking about getting into vintage scooters, this is really what you have to do to make them reliable. I know it's a lot of work, but it's actually kind of fun. But yeah, it's no different from your 20-year-old car. You know, you're not gonna just go on a long road trip without actually giving some attention. So same as these things, you gotta kind of show us some love before we're gonna love you back. Yeah, that's like I said, that's gonna be it for this build series. Again, if you've enjoyed these videos, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I do also have another build series on the channel. It's a 67 electric conversion build, so be sure to check that out if you haven't already. But yeah, if I don't see or talk to you guys, please have yourself a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.